Hello, this is part 70, preparation for NSE4 exam Fortinet. Logging and monitoring, and what is effect of logging on performance. It is important to remember that the more logs we generating, the heavier is toll on our processor, on our CPU, memory, on our disk resources. Strong logs for a period of time also requires disk space, and it does access it quite often. So before configuring logging, make sure that our logging will worth the extra resources that our system can handle. Also important to note that the logging behavior with security profiles can, depending on the logging setting, create events with traffic matching the profile is detected. And depending on the amount of traffic what we have, logging settings that are enabled, our traffic logs can swell and ultimately impact the performance of the FortiGate device, of the firewall. When using remote logging devices such as FortiAnalyzer and syslog, we can enable performance statistic logging to occur every 1 to 15 minutes, or 0 if we want to disable it. This is not available for local disk logging or FortiCloud. To enable performance statistic logging for remote logging devices on FortiGate, we go to Command Line Interface, Config System Global, set sys-perf-log-interval, and then put number from 0 to 15. It will occur every 1 to 15 minutes. And traffic logs record every session. Extra information for troubleshooting. Some UTM events, Unified Threat Management, and more system intensive. More logs, more CPU, memory, disk space used. So wait, does it worth of logging or not? Knowledge check for logging and monitoring this chapter. Question 1. Which type of logs are application control, web filter, and antivirus? And we have options event or security. Application control, web filter, and antivirus are type of security controls. The log, here we enter the answer, contains fields that are common to all log types, such as originating date and time, log identifier, log category, and VDOM. And options. Is it in header or is it in body? It is in header. The correct answer is first option. The log header contains fields that are common to all log types, such as originating date and time, log identifier, log category, and VDOM, virtual domain. Now we will go to next chapter for logging and monitoring, which is local and remote logging. Log storage, local. Typically mid-level to high-end FortiGate models have a hard drive. FortiGate can store logs on its own hard drive. This operation is known as local logging or disk logging. Depending on the model series, disk logging may be enabled by default. FortiGate can store all log types. All log types is traffic, security logs, and event logs. It can store all log types, including log archives and traffic logs, all locally. Traffic logs and log archives are larger files, and traffic logs and log archives need a lot of room when being logged by FortiGate. Under heavy log usage, disk logging will result in a performance impact. If we are using the local hard disk on a device for wide area network optimization, we cannot also log to disk unless our device has two separate disks. If our device has two separate disks, we can use one for WAN optimization and the other for logging. If we are using the local hard disk for WAN optimization and the only one disk is available, then we can log to remote FortiAnalyzer devices or syslog servers. If we want to store logs locally on FortiGate, we must enable disk storage. We must enable disk logging on log settings. How to go there? We go to graphical user interface, log and report, and then followed by log settings page. Only some FortiGate models support disk logging. If our FortiGate does not support disk logging, we can log to an external device instead. We must enable disk logging in order for information to appear on the FortiView dashboards. If disk logging is disabled, logs display in real time only. We can also enable this setting using command line interface with the command config log disk setting. We can config disk log setting and set maximum -log -age, and then we enter integer. Using command line interface, we can enable disk logging. To do it, go to command line interface, type config log disk setting, set status enable. By default, logs older than 7 days are deleted from the disk, and this value is configurable. FortiGate disk allocation, reserved space. If we decide to log locally on FortiGate, then we need to be aware that the entire disk space is not available to store logs. The FortiGate system reserves approximately 25% of its disk space for system usage and unexpected quota overflow. To determine the amount of reserved space on your FortiGate, use command line interface command diagnose syslog disk usage. It will show you total hard drive usage, total hard drive logging space. Use this command to obtain amount of reserved space on your FortiGate and use formula disk logging is equal to reserved. Reserved divided by disk multiplied by 100 is percentage of reserved disk space. Subtract the total logging space from the total disk space to calculate the reserved space. Log storage remote. We can configure FortiGate to store logs on syslog servers, FortiCloud, FortiSIEM, FortiSIEM, FortiAnalyzer, or FortiManager. These logging devices can also be used as a backup solution. Whenever possible, it is preferred to store logs externally. Syslog is a logging server that is used as a central repository for network devices. FortiCloud is Fortinet subscription-based hosted security management and log retention service that offers long-term storage of logs with reporting. If we have smaller network, FortiCloud is usually more feasible in buying dedicated logging device. Note that every FortiGate offers a free tier and will keep logs for 7 days. We must upgrade to the paid service to retain logs for 1 year. FortiSIEM provides unified event correlation and disk management that can collect, parse, and normalize index store security logs. So we have FortiCloud, FortiSIEM, and FortiAnalyzer. What is FortiAnalyzer? FortiAnalyzer and FortiManager, they are external logging devices which FortiGate can communicate. We can place FortiAnalyzer or FortiManager in the same network as FortiGate or outside of it. While FortiAnalyzer and FortiManager share a common hardware and software platform and can both take log entries, FortiAnalyzer and FortiManager actually have different capabilities that are worth noting. The primary purpose of FortiManager is to centrally manage multiple FortiGate devices. And so log volumes in FortiManager limited to a fixed amount per day, which are less than the equivalent size FortiAnalyzer. And on the other hand, the primary purpose of FortiAnalyzer is to store and to analyze logs. So the log limit is much higher. Through the limit is model dependent. So note that local logging is not required for us to configure logging to FortiAnalyzer or to FortiManager. 4 types. In short, syslog. It's a logging server, central repository for network devices. Syslog server consolidates logs. FortiCloud is hosted subscription-based service. It is used for long-term log storage and reporting. It's bound to Fortinet support account. FortiCloud FortiGate includes free tier for FortiCloud, and we need to check documentation for quotas. FortiAnalyzer is for long-term dedicated storage of log data. FortiAnalyzer provides us with reports, and log limit on FortiAnalyzer depended on the model of the FortiGate. FortiSIEM is Unified Event Correlation and Risk Management Device, and it collects, parse, normalize, index, and store security logs. FortiManager, like FortiAnalyzer, can also store logs and generate reports, but has fixed amount per day that is less than equivalent size FortiAnalyzer. So FortiAnalyzer has bigger space, much more and for much longer term. FortiManager's primary purpose is central administrative management of networked devices. Thank you for watching my video. See you in the next